Hello everyone, I'm Rhoda Ngonzi. Uganda has shared spoils with Zimbabwe in their second AFCON game at the Cairo International Stadium. An early goal from Emmanuel Okwi would be just that for the Ugandan side before an equalizer from the Warriors. Although many wanted a clear victory against the opponents, our hope remains as the games continue. Let's take a quick look at our top stories. PF recalls veterans below 55 years. Korea equips Uganda with emergency support systems. Government awards 6 billion shillings to the best innovators. While economists flex muscles over Uganda's debt. Hello once again. Mugalu Mohammed joins us on sign language in a bit, but the UPDF is calling up 1,500 veterans below the age of 55 years. They will serve in Somalia as Battle Group 30. The quotas have been distributed by regions. The central region will contribute 380, whereas the other three regions will each contribute 350. 70 retired officers, those measures to lieutenants, will also be taken to command the group. The UPDF first deployed veterans to Somalia in 2012 under the command of the then Colonel Stephen Mugerwa. The team did a commendable job, including expanding AMISOM area of control by 100 kilometers northwards from Jawar airfield. The team also put 280 Al-Shabaab under pressure, compelling the insurgents to surrender in one day. They also recovered several Ugandan passports in possession of the Al-Shabaab, among other achievements. Now, the veterans who are interested and have not yet reported are called upon to do so before the 28th of June. That's when the exercise is expected to close. The team will receive refresher training in Single Training School, Nakaseke, before they receive peace support operation training.
The reservists, those who retired, between the ages, those who are below age of 55. And the intention is to train them, give them refresher training, and after refresher training, they will be deployed to Somalia as a battle group. But apparently the exercise already started and the turn-up is good. The persons are actually reporting to the respective division headquarters. They know where these divisions are, but now what we are
President Yoweri Museveni has said partnerships, especially around trade and trade facilitation, will ensure global prosperity of nations, which leaders must understand, adding, however, that mutual support around trade must include infrastructural development such as roads, railways, electricity, ICT backbone and trained manpower, among others. The president was meeting the Vice Premier of China, Hu Chunhua, at the multi-purpose function hall in Changsha, Hunan province in China. The president is in the province on a 2-day working visit, during which he officially opens the China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo and also give a keynote address. The expo is being held under the theme Win-Win Cooperation for Closer China-Africa Economic and Trade Partnership. President Museveni said he raised 12 areas of cooperation with President Xi Jinping, including the standard gauge railway, oil and tourism, roads, industrial parks, irrigation for agricultural production, sports stadiums, market success, defense cooperation and party cooperation, among others. And they agreed to bring these aspirations to high levels as comprehensive partners. The Premier, who said trade is crucial for nations to grow, saying in the last 20 years, trade between China and Africa has grown to over 30 billion US dollars and continues to expand. He said the Chinese government is willing to encourage private investments in Africa and East Africa, especially in industrial parks, adding that they have already invested close to 3.4 billion US dollars in Uganda alone. The president is accompanied by the Minister for Finance, Matia Kasaija, that of Tourism, Professor Ephraim Kamuntu, Uganda's ambassador to China, Dr. Crispus Kionga, and the NRM Secretary General, Justin Kasule Lumumba, among others. Also, President Museveni has said that government welcomes investments in all sectors, especially the tea sector, at both production and processing level for all varieties of tea. He said there is need to focus on tea specialty, which is gaining a lot of prominence around the world. The president made these remarks in a speech which was delivered for him by the Prime Minister, Dr. Uganda, at the 4th African Tea Convention and Exhibition held at Kampala Serena Hotel. The event was organized under the theme African Tea Transformation Through Global Trade. We have more on this.
General Acheng, Your Excellency. Complex, which I believe Your Excellency you saw when we were at the emergency, it is at 85% completion. Awareness programs which are run weekly on emergency medical services in the region. So we continue to sensitize the public about the program that we have. We are able to construct an ambulance parking shed. We are moving the full operation.
From here, Your Excellency, we are moving to the official handover.
Yeah.
To receive the motorcycle. Hospital director and secretary, he says in the new address.
For God and my country, and again I thank our friends from Korea.
Because of lack of funds to add.
A medical engineer was deployed to Masaka to address and thereafter officially hand over the equipment after receiving it from the.
Meanwhile, government has awarded 6 billion shillings to 60 groups of innovators to expand on their innovations. The 60 innovators were selected out of 300 applicants. The money was handed over to the winners by the Prime Minister, Dr. Uganda, at the Ministry of ICT in Kampala.
The ICT Innovation Fund that started last year by only supporting 12 innovators has expanded, with this year's fund supporting up to 60 innovators. Over 300 applicants were received by the Ministry of ICT and only 60 were successful. At the handoff event at the Ministry of ICT in Kampala, the Prime Minister Dr. Uganda urged the innovators to use the money to take innovation to greater levels.
Today, it is truly a time to celebrate our innovators. However, I hope you will not stop being innovators, but continue to build on what you have achieved. As you receive the government support to extend your innovations further, please use the resources very well and use it for the right purpose.
He also directed government agencies and ministries to make use of local innovators before sourcing for the services abroad.
Now, given the demonstration of the capabilities of our innovators, I want to encourage government entities and our private sector to give the first priority to Ugandan ICT firms.
Dr. Rugunda commended the ICT ministry for the initiative of supporting the innovators.
Now, given the demonstration of the capabilities of our innovators, I want to encourage government entities and our private sector to give the first priority to Ugandan ICT firms.
The Minister for ICT, Frank Tumwebaze, urged the government for more funds so as to support more innovators.
I hope the committee is still stuck to our agreement. You are not supporting people who are still incubating. You are not supporting trial and error. You are supporting solutions that are ready to be consumed. And that's why you had the PS mention of CAF, some of the solutions that were already supported last year, which are beginning to break into markets, locally and regionally.
Permanent Secretary, Minister of ICT, Vincent Bajire, pledged his ministry's support in expanding ICT services in the country.
What we are doing here today as government is catalyzing and creating a conducive environment for ICT innovation in the country to flourish so that Ugandans can create software for Uganda, but also create enterprises that can employ the young people of Uganda.
The innovators commended the ICT ministry for the support and pledged to expand their innovations to ease service delivery to Ugandans.
Doctors actually work different facilities, and we spend so much time actually having to wait for health care. So what Mobicare does is that it will help you to schedule you to your next appointment with the doctor of your specialist choice that you would like to have. And then it will help you actually make the schedules, both on the patient side and on the doctor side. That way it saves time, and we actually can know where to find, say, a given doctor at a given time.
It does two things. The first one is monitoring. For example, you have your phone, you put a chip in your car, in your cow. You are in Kampala, the cow is in Nyabushozi. You'll be monitoring your cows in case it moves out of the range. Thirdly, it detects the diseases. You put that chip in the ear, it keeps on monitoring the temperatures. In case of any change of temperatures, you get a notification on your phone. That means it is helping you to detect the diseases in 48 hours before the disease manifests itself.
I've developed an application that is going to work on management of OWC activities. Our team is called OWCI app, and our major objective is to manage and promote the efficiency of the OWC activities.
It's done. Philip Aguta reporting.
Lawyers are calling for speedy processing of a bill to enable provision of free legal and aid services to underprivileged persons. Now, the legal aid bill under consideration apparently shall require government to set aside funds to cater for expenses incurred in facilitating individuals to offer the pro bono services. Uganda Law Society remarked on the matter during an address about the forthcoming annual pro bono day set for Friday. Whereas this service is provided all year round, the society is seeking to ease accessibility through digitalization.
Our lawyers, when you come to us, there are lawyers who have made a vote to provide services for free. So out of, I'll give an example, out of every 20 cases we do in my firm, 2 of those cases will be pro bono. So that's how we bridge the gap. But going forward, government needs to take the issue of legal aid serious, because the cardinal obligation to provide legal services is that of government, especially to the poor and the vulnerable. So that's why we are pushing for this legal aid bill. And we are told from our interaction with the state that this is actually a very welcome idea. What we hope is that this year we will see that policy come to light. Yes. Because the idea is good, it's been embraced by the president, but the technocrats are still polishing up a few things. What we want as Uganda Law Society is to make sure that provision is made from the consolidated fund to at least cover a few fees in terms of disbursements to enable our lawyers work for free. So if I provide my services for free and I cannot drive to Kabong to provide the services, it's as good as useless. So we are saying meet us halfway. While we work for free, at least pay the disbursements to enable us reach those people that need our legal services.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998. With a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda, we created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
You're still watching News Tonight. The Chief Justice, Batka Turebe, has advised government to expedite efforts geared at bringing in place a legal aid policy and law to facilitate plea bargaining processes in the judicial system. The Chief Justice's advice comes at the time when the plea bargaining tool has been proven not only effective in checking on case backlog, but also reducing on the number of remands. Turebe was officiating at the opening session for the 5th National Plea Bargaining Conference, currently ongoing at the Imperial Royal Hotel in Kampala, under the theme Plea Bargaining as a Case Backlog Intervention.
5 years ago, the judiciary enrolled for a plea bargaining method as one way of reducing case backlog that has for long been a thorn in the flesh of the justice, law and order sector. As anticipated, the tool has registered tangible results, evidenced by the reduced cases on remand, as Jackson Babashaija, the Commissioner General Uganda Prison Service, explains.
Plea bargaining is the good thing. It is affecting the number of remands in my facilities, in our facilities. And since this is in the reception centers, and I still have room in the farms, plea bargaining is directly reducing the congestion levels we have in the prisons.
However, according to the Chief Justice Batka Turebe, absence of a legal aid policy and law is one bottleneck that continues to undermine effective implementation of plea bargaining.
Somebody must understand what he's going to plead guilty to, must understand his legal rights. So the lawyers are there to advise anybody charged with an offense. Those who can afford their own lawyers, of course, like here, there's no problem. But what we are saying here, we don't have a public defender system. So we have to depend on a pro bono arrangement like the Law Society, providing lawyers to go out in the... We had them in Gulu and Masindi, the Law Society members, coming out to help, to advise these people. We don't encourage a person who has not been properly advised to go into plea bargaining without understanding what he is plea bargaining for.
It is for this reason that the Chief Justice wants government's efforts geared at formulating the legal aid policy and law be expedited.
We should have had a legal aid policy. We should have had a legal aid law, which I know was prepared, but it's still lying somewhere in the Ministry of Justice, which would regulate how private legal providers can come in and give legal aid to people. Especially the indigent. People can't afford private. Someone is charged with a murder. Now that somebody who doesn't understand the difference between a murder and the manslaughter and the plea bargaining.
Chief Justice Batika Trevi was officiating at the opening session for the 5th National Plea Bargaining Conference, currently ongoing at Imperial Hotel in Kampala, under the theme Plea Bargaining as a Case Backlog Intervention. At the conference, the Principal Judge Rokamba Mwine lauded the team from Pepperdine University, the main brain behind plea bargaining tool, for the facilitation that he begged should continue for meaningful results.
Whatever the challenges, we cannot give up on plea bargaining. There is a lot at stake. It's a game changer in as far as speedy justice and eradication of case backlog are concerned. That's the silver bullet, the proverbial silver bullet. Together, we can overcome the challenges.
At the time of inception, there were only 406 inmates appreciating plea bargaining method of justice. However, this has over the years increased to over 1,200 cases, a sign that it is gaining momentum. Dokas Kimon and Gloria Gweta Vinji, UBC TV News.
West Nile members of parliament have started mobilizing for financial support to help boost the education status of children in the region. The second of its kind, the drive is targeting a collection of 4.5 billion shillings in a period of 5 years to help the West Nile Foundation support underprivileged children attain education. A Yuku County Member of Parliament, Bernard Atiku, says the massive decline in the education system in West Nile region is entirely attributed to less funding and poverty by most families. This is going to be followed by a fundraising dinner scheduled on for the 28th, where the Minister of Education, Janet Kataha Museveni, is expected to officiate.
In 2013, West Nile region started an initiative intended to solicit money to improve the education status of children from West Nile through the West Nile Foundation and West Nile Education Trust Fund. This initiative follows the continued decline in education standards attributed to increased poverty levels. According to Ayivu legislator Bernard Atiku, the number of students who enroll for university studies in West Nile has tremendously reduced following the several dropouts at lower education level.
West Nile is among the list that has performed poorly and also has benefited in terms of admissions on merit in these institutions. So it's from that background. And when you also follow the trend of dropout, school dropout, the enrollments have always been high, but of the enrollments that has been registered, we have realized, or the reports indicate that only 20% of the children who enroll in primary one complete.
The West Nile Foundation and the West Nile Education Trust Fund is soliciting about 4.5 billion to support children from the region financially.
Not all that are admitted on private sponsorship are given the students' loan scheme. So that means from the merit admission, there's a group that is left out. Also from the loan scheme, there's a group that is left out. When it comes to the district quotas is mainly for arts courses. It's not for science courses.
The funds in question are to be collected in a period of 5 years, which is going to be channeled towards facilitating education of mainly vulnerable children pursuing science courses and the girls.
That we've realized that when you look at sciences, it's been going down in the region, and the girls have not been doing well. So we're providing opportunity for these girls to come up and say, hey, it's very competitive, they can do it. We have 8 boys on this program, gentlemen, so we need more girls to participate.
For us, in 2 years, to be able to place 10 students doing professional science courses in public universities and pay for them, and actually not paying for them now, I can guarantee that all this we have put are going to finish, because the money we have raised, we have locked it. I'm not going to get a student and you get stranded in second year, no.
West Nile Foundation was started in 2013 to champion education and bridge the gap between the poor and the rich. The initiative is going to be followed by a fundraising dinner scheduled for 28th June, where the Minister of Education, Janet Museveni, is expected to officiate. Jamil Oluka and Susan Nawoga reporting.
Only 2 million of the labour force out of the 17 million serve for retirement. This is being attributed to lack of access to information of the retirement sector. Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority has launched a retirement benefits club in Namasuba College of Commerce with the aim of creating coordination between the schools and the authority in reminding people to save for retirement.
People are afraid to save money for retirement because of the life expectancy, which has been changing from 45 years in the 90s, 55 years and now 63 years, as per the 2014 census. Only 10% of Ugandans save for retirement because many old people expect to be looked after and cared for by their family members. But that may no longer be the case because of changing traditions and family networks. Officials from Uganda Retirement Benefits Authority say old age poverty has to be thought about since it comes with health complications and loneliness. Their first target is the youth in various institutions of learning where they have started creating retirement benefits clubs.
We have around 13.5 million people in the informal sector who are not saving anywhere for their retirement. Now, how can we capture these people? We are targeting the youths from the schools. We are telling them the importance of saving for long term. We are working with them as our ambassadors. They are not paid for, and we are disseminating information through them for the students.
As they wait to be employed, students have been advised to start saving for their future by using the available disposable incomes for nominal savings.
When you have any money with you, any money that comes to you, be it a gift, be it an income from work you have done, you may elect to put something aside. And putting something aside in as far as retirement is concerned, because we are saying when you start early, putting something aside, that money can compound. And when you look at the long term, you can have some savings that can help you during your retirement. The idea is at whatever stage in which you are, you can elect to make some nominal savings, and then you have supplementary savings as you go along.
Meanwhile, in preparing public servants' pension, government is looking at changing from defined benefit scheme to defined contribution scheme.
Servants are going to start making contributions such that the scheme has assets. Then in the end, they will be able to have money on time, because when it is a defined benefit scheme, you know how much you're contributing, the money is invested, and then you get a return on investment. When you retire, the money should be there at the time when you need it.
This engagement of students to be able to disseminate information on retirement has started with Namasuba College of Commerce and is to be spread in all schools countrywide. I'm Nafka Farida, reporting in Namasuba.
And business development experts have flexed economic muscles over Uganda's current debt standing, calling for a review of the disconnect between growth and ability to pay debts. While former Minister for Finance Saida Bumba argues in favor of borrowing for priority areas, others contend that creditors benefit more than the borrowers. This was during a post-2019-20 budget dialogue where it was feared that the rise in public debt may deteriorate Uganda's key macroeconomic variables.
From border to border, town to town, and region to region, one can easily see ongoing infrastructure development projects in Uganda. They could be roads, electricity power dams, education institutions, or even factories. But behind these milestones is what some economic experts describe as a devil in the detail: huge borrowing.
While we cannot dismiss entirely the positive benefits of the increased transparency of the government of Uganda, certainly there is a lot about debt that we don't know. A case in point is the increased Chinese debt that has facilitated the construction of infrastructure, mostly in the energy and road sector.
Mbale Rwakaka Road, the loan was taken in 2014. Up to now, they have not commenced. They have not commenced. So what are we paying for? Which means we are not ready.
Borrowing has assisted this country to make a big leap. Yes, there are inefficiencies. We could have done better. But it has helped this country to make a big leap. And what we need is a holistic development strategy that will create production capacity.
It is projected that the total stock of Uganda's debt will reach $18 billion in 2022-2023 financial year. This, it is argued, will be more than 50% of gross domestic product, creating fresh risks and limiting growth prospects.
It's also worth noting that there's been a commodity price boom correction since 2014 and a deviation from the usual performance of economic management institutions. Overall, the country policy and institutional assessment, the CPIA, has fallen in the last 10 years. In this case, there is scope for the improvement in the discipline of economic management institutions.
It is argued that interest payments are the second biggest item after roads on the financial year 2019-2020 budget. This kind of menu is typically associated with countries at a high risk of debt distress, which does not spare Uganda. However, Godfrey Datemwa, the Commissioner Debt Policy and Issuance in the Ministry of Finance, allays such fears in agreement with former Finance Minister Saida Bumba.
We need to look elsewhere. But I think what is important is that when we are borrowing, we have our borrowing is well targeted.
We have other provisions for semi-concessional loans whose grant element should be at least 35%. And also we have the commercial loans, which we put at 25%.
And if you are borrowing commercial loan, you must look for those kind of projects which can generate revenue to pay these commercial loans at their expensive rates.
The post-budget dialogue was organized by Uganda Economic Association in conjunction with the Economic Policy Research Center. It was held under the theme, Challenges of Debt Management in Uganda. Henry Okurut, UBC.
Well, Uganda Cranes has secured a 1-1 draw with Zimbabwe in the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt. Uganda went ahead first through Emma Okwi after good work by Abdul Mala. From then on, Zimbabwe turned on the heat till they drew level through Beliat for the two teams to go in at half-time at 1-1. A spirited second-half performance from both sides that had gilt-edged chances to win the game yielded no further goals as this Group A game produced the fourth shared points of the tournament. This result nears Uganda to knockout stage qualification, having amassed 4 points. The rules of engagement at this 2019 AFCON tournament are that the top 2 teams from each of the 6 groups qualify to the round of 16. They will be joined by 4 best third-placed teams, a situation Uganda is primed to achieve in case direct qualification fails. Now, next up is potential banana skinners. Hosts Egypt play winless DR Congo that's fighting for its life at Africa's premier soccer event. And that does sum it up for News Tonight. Thank you for sticking with us. We are indeed showing the next game, Egypt versus DRC at the Cairo International Stadium. But for now, I'm Rhoda Ngonzi and Mugalu Mohammed on Sign Language. Have a lovely night.